Okay. Okay. Am I going to hear other people, like if they want to ask questions, or are they just going to go in the comment section if they have questions? Okay. Yeah, I was wondering the same thing, Melissa. Oh, I see. All right. Good morning, and thank you for joining me here today. My name is Casey, and I will be showing you how we can apply the Hermetic principles to Ayurveda. The reason why we might want to apply these principles is so we can use it as a template to compare, evaluate, and relate other philosophies, such as Ayurveda, to philosophies that we may already have in our daily lives. Next slide, please. So before we begin, I just kind of want to tell you a little bit about myself and what kind of lens I view the world. From a spiritual and religious point of view, I am an omnis. An omnis recognizes and respects all religions. So my favorite saying is that we are all different fingers pointing to the same moon. What it doesn't mean, though, is that I can appropriate other people's cultural backgrounds and religions. And I feel that's very something very important for me to mention. I really like these quotes that explain the difference. Appropriation is the unacknowledged or inappropriate adoption of the practices, customs, or aesthetics of one social or ethnic group by members of another, typically dominant community or society. Appreciation is to learn more about a culture so you can better understand it. It quickly transforms into appropriation the moment you try to use that culture for yourself. Appreciation has you looking to others to guide the conversation, and it keeps you in the role of the student. So even though I'm an omnist, there are certain things that I do not practice out of respect for those cultures and religions. So as an omnist, I present as a neo-pagan, or I look further back into my ancestry and practice that. But certain practices I do not touch, just out of respect for them. Next slide, please. So before we go through the Hermetic philosophies, I kind of wanted to introduce you and give you information on what Ayurveda is, as well as Hermeticism. So Ayur meaning life and Veda meaning knowledge. Ayurveda translates to the knowledge of life. It defines life as the conjunction of the body, mind, and spirit found in the cosmetic consciousness of embracing all of creation. It treats the body as a whole with the purpose of healing and maintaining one's quality and longevity of life. Ayurveda is a living science that incorporates modern techniques along with ancient wisdom, and it addresses the nature, scope, and purpose of life, including the physical and metaphysical aspects. These are some of my favorite things about Ayurveda. I love that it knows that there is a time and place for modern medicine as well as holistic medicine, and that it acknowledges the physical and metaphysical, the spiritual and non-spiritual worlds. Next slide, please. Ayurveda is based on a collection of Vedic literature called the Shadashan that span from a time of 1300 to 900 BCE. The Shadashan is composed of 4 scriptures known as the Vedas and 6 philosophical texts from the 6 founding sages of India. Of the Vedas, there are 4 secondary Vedas known as Upavedas, with Ayurveda being one of those. And it is also further debated whether Ayurveda originates from the Artha Veda or the Rig Veda. The Ayurvedic knowledge that we have now is passed through what is called sutras, small phrases, poetry, mantras, even music. And then classical Ayurvedic text is broken down into 2 categories, the 3 great and 3 lesser texts. So Ayurveda is a newer, more modern version of Vedic religion. Next slide, please. So I went ahead and, this is a lot of information, but I went ahead and tried to provide a breakdown of the texts. So we have the Shadashan, the Vedic text, and the Ayurvedic text. I'm not going to go through every single one, but if you want, you can take a snapshot and kind of review that. Next slide, please. So Ayurveda, where it began or what it stemmed from was the Vedic period and what is known as the Kuru kingdom. So the historical Vedic religion happened during the Vedic time period, during 1500 to 1100 BCE, with its roots in the Eurasia steppe. So I will provide a visual of that and where that is. The early Indo-Aryans or Indo-Iranians, known as the Purus, were a confederate of several tribes centered in southern Asia that were semi-nomadic pastoralists. The Kuru kingdom, which eventually came about due to a forced union of the Peru Confederation tribes. This was a result of the Bharata faction defeating the rest of them, and this was actually mentioned in Vedic literature in the Battle of the 10 Kings. The Purus eventually settled for farming of rice and barley, and they were the first ever recorded state-level society that included 3-tiered hierarchy and the Indian subcontinent. And again, they arranged their rituals and hymns into what is now known as the Vedas. Next slide, please. So in the top left-hand corner, actually, let's start in the bottom left-hand corner. So in the bottom left-hand corner, you'll see that teal strip. That is the Eurasian steppe, where a lot of, where historians believe a lot of it began. And then in the top left-hand corner is where the Peru tribes eventually, or originated from. They originally migrated to, if you look here in the direction challenge, sorry. If you look over into what is the top right-hand side, they eventually migrated into that section of what is known as the early Vedic period, and then expanded from there to what you see in the late Vedic period down at the bottom. Next slide, please. Ayurveda has had a lot of influences on the world. Today, currently, there is 90% of India's population practices some sort of Ayurvedic medicine. 75 to 80% of Nepal's population also practice that, and also practice Ayurveda. And the 1800s, when the British overtook India, it was prohibited, but made a comeback in 1947. It was then later brought into the Western world in the 1960s, and then adapted for U.S. consumption in the 1970s by yoga master and monk Baba Hari Das, and that is a picture of him right there. Next slide, please. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to an introduction of Hermeticism. Hermeticism is based on a collection of philosophical texts spanning from 300 BCE to 1200 BCE. So Ayurveda is much older. However, it was the Vedic religion was still forming during the time that Hermeticism started forming, which is something that's interesting to note. The philosophical text from Hermeticism is called the Hermetical, and is primarily believed to be the teachings of Hermes Trismegistus, who is a syncretic combination of the Greek god Hermes and the ancient Egyptian god Thoth. The Hermetica is further broken into two main texts: the technical text, which covers astrology, medicine, and pharmacology, as well as alchemy and magic, and the religio-philosophical text, which focuses on the relationship between humans, the cosmos, God, morals, rebirth, and spirituality. The historical form is strictly referred to as Hermeticism, while Hermeticism is a more open-ended form or open-ended term for a variety of philosophical systems drawing from the original writings. So just like how Ayurveda comes from Vedic religion, Hermeticism comes from the Hermetic religious or philosophical ideas. Next slide, please. So these are some important texts in Hermeticism. There were a lot more that I could not fit onto here. I was very curious about the emerald tablet. Turns out it's not actually emerald. I was hoping, I thought that would be super cool. But one of the main texts that I'm getting a lot of my information from is the bottom one there, called the Kabbalion, which is a form of Neo-Hermeticism and is what the principles come from. Next text, please, or next slide, please. All right, so Hermeticism began in the Ptolemaic kingdom. This kingdom was a Greek state in Egypt that was previously under Persian rule and was disenfranchised by Alexander the Great. Based on what I was reading, the Persian rule was quite horrendous, and it wasn't necessarily welcomed or wanted the Greeks, but it was definitely they were definitely treated a lot better. The ancient Egyptians were. Um, the Ptolemaic kingdom was the longest and most recent dynasty in ancient Egypt and lasted for a whole 3 centuries, from Ptolemy's to Cleopatra's rule, and I think a lot of us know who Cleopatra is. It was named after the self-declared pharaoh, who was Alexander's most trusted general and confidant after Alexander died. And the Ptolemies did a lot. They tried hard not to disturb the customs of the native Egyptians and even took on a lot of those customs. They made sure that the ancient Egyptians were still in charge of their religious institutions. They dressed as the Egyptians, and even practiced their long-line tradition of incest. Next slide, please. So these, So these visuals, the one on the left is the Egyptian god Thoth. The one on the right is the Greek god Hermes, whom you normally see with feathers on his head and feet. And in the center, we have the combination of the two. Next slide, please. Hermeticism had a lot of influence on several different societies. The Platonic kingdom was what is now parts of modern-day Turkey, Iran, Israel, Jordan, Lebanon, Syria, other parts such as Afghanistan, Pakistan, and even parts of India. In the 17th century, there was a spiritual and cultural movement based on Hermeticism. And then in the 19th and 20th centuries, we had the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, which is a secret society that included both men and women. And it even had an influence on Christianity. When Hermeticism was forming, Christianity had originally claimed it, but eventually disbanded that. But even now, to this day, there is a form of Christianity that incorporates Hermeticism into it. Next slide, please. So this is a visual of both Greek and Egyptian statues of Cleopatra and the initial pharaoh Ptolemy. You can kind of see the differences there, and it's kind of interesting. And then we can also see where the kingdom was in Egypt. Next slide, please. So I had a choice on presenting this in 2 different ways. I could have presented this in the order of the Hermetic philosophies or in the order of consciousness into matter, which is the Ayurvedic philosophy. I went ahead and decided to present it in this order, in the Ayurvedic philosophy order, which we will go further into detail, but you can kind of keep this in mind as a visual. Next slide, please. So our first principle is the principle of dynamic balance, which is also known as the law of gender. The principle of dynamic balance states that everything is composed of 2 active principles that both require presence in order to create life. These principles are the feminine, which represents contraction, and masculine, which represents expansion. Both forces complement each other, creating a state of balance and a state of union or whole. A popular example that many of you might know is the Wicked Moon Goddess and the Horned God, also known as the Sun and Moon. So the Sun represents the masculine and the Moon represents the feminine. Next slide, please. In Ayurveda, this principle is Purusha and Prakuti. So Purusha is the masculine primordial will, and Prakuti is the divine mother, conscious matter that the universe is born from. Next slide, please. And then we have the next principle, which is the principle of mentalism, also known as the principle of one. It states that everything exists from one, that oneness is an internal, unchanging, and unified field of intelligence, consciousness that underlies everything. that everyone and everything is connected, and that there are multiple, and that even if there are multiple manifestations of this, everything will return to one. An example of this is Christianity's Holy Trinity. So we have the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, which are seen as separate entities, but ultimately are seen as connected to God. The Ayurvedic version of this would be Ma'ad, meaning supreme intelligence, which is the first expression of creation, has self-awareness, and puts everything into place. For example, Ma'ad is what gives our cells order and intelligence. Next slide, please. Our next principle is the principle of polarity. It states that everything exists in duality, is characterized by a pair of opposites, and that these opposites exist in relativity. For example, this would be Taoism's yin and yang. This one's very popular. In Ayurveda, this is the principle of Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas, which are also present in everything. Sattva is the pure essence of light, right action, and spiritual purpose it creates, while Tamas is darkness, confusion, and destruction. Then we have Rajas, which is the principle of movement, change, and excitement, and it maintains. I know we're talking about duality, but we can view Rajas as the two brought into one whole, which also brings us back to the principle of mentalism. Next slide, please. So on top of those three qualities, we also have 20 additional qualities of matter, which are grouped into 10 pairs. These 10 pairs are used to help us further understand the 5 elements and doshas, which we will further dive into. And it also helps us as Ayurvedic practitioners understand the nature of our clients, their symptoms, and remedies. So, for example, if someone has a cold, we're naturally going to treat them with warm soups, put them in a blanket, make sure they get their rest, that kind of thing. Next slide, please. All right, so our next principle is the principle of correspondence. And this one is going to take me a minute to get there, but I promise we will get to the point. The principle of correspondence states that there are different levels of reality that exist, and that all principles apply to each level of existence. So the physical, spiritual, and idea of one. An example of this is as above, so below, as within, so without, as the universe, so the soul. So this actually the saying originated from Hermeticism, but a lot of neo-pagan religions use this and has adapted it to their own, as well as Wicca. In the beginning, when I was explaining Ayurveda, we had Ayurveda describe the life as a conjunction of the body, mind, and spirit, found in the cosmetic consciousness by embracing all of creation. So this within itself is the principle of correspondence, but we're going to go a little bit deeper into that and look at the qualities again. So Sattva and Rajas creates the world of sensory perception through the 5 senses and 5 motor organs. Tamas and Rajas creates the 5 objects of sensory perception, which then further divides into the 5 elements. So that's how we get our 5 elements. Next slide, please. So here you can see the 5 elements, which then is further divided into the 3 doshas. And although the 5 elements and doshas are born from Tamas, it still has qualities of all 3 original guanas. Okay? The elements, guanas, and doshas are all present in all living beings. Okay? Prakuti is the inherent balance that we are born with. when it comes to the doshas. So, for example, I believe I am 40% Vata, 40% Pitta, and 20% Kapha. So that is my Prakuti. When the current state of your doshas do not align with your Prakuti, it can manifest as physical and non-physical imbalances. So, for example, I can have a Vata imbalance, which will cause me anxiety, even pain, forgetfulness, things of that nature. We use Ayurveda to create routines to help us bring us back into balance. So this as a whole is the principle of correspondence. So if I'm not taking care of myself, if I don't have the right kind of balance in my life, that can manifest physically and non-physically. And as Ayurvedic practitioners, we use these routines and diagnosis to further create that balance. Next slide, please. Our next principle is the principle of vibration. This principle states that everything is energy and is never at rest, and that energy takes the path of least resistance. So when I say energy, energy and vibration are exchangeable, right? It states that everything has its own unique vibrational pattern along with each level of reality. So an example of this, one of my favorite examples, is the law of attraction. So basically, if I want to manifest money, it's going to manifest. If I want to put on blinders and stay deep within my depression, I'm going to attract more of that depression. Versus if I want to take off those blinders and chase after that happiness, chase after that good life, and just continue to improve myself and become my higher self, I'm going to attract those things that will help me become a better person. Another really cool example of this is Albert Einstein's E equals mc squared. So E means energy, M is matter. So we know that energy and matter are strongly interconnected just through Einstein's equation. So in Ayurveda, these forms of energy or vibration is prana, which is a vital life force that gives us air and oxygen into our lungs. Let's see here. It determines the expansion and vibration of our auras, and it manifests non-physically as vata. Tejas, which is a healing energy, inner light, and it determines the color of our aura, manifests as pitta. And ojas, which is a reserving energy, determines our immunity, the strength of our aura, and manifests as kapha. This could even further be looked at as the principle of polarity or duality as well. But it also applies to the principle of vibration. And just like the doshas, when these vibrations are off, it can further bring poor health or perfect health. Next slide, please. Let's see here. Oh, we're almost there. This is our second one. So our next one is the principle of rhythm, which states that everything is changing and moves in an endless series of cycles. So a lot of us might know the example of the mother, maiden, and the crone, different cycles of the female life. In Ayurveda, it speaks about not only different times, different time of life, but also daily cycles, lunar menstrual cycles, and seasonal cycles. And this is further presented as the doshas. So we have kapha, pitta, vata seasonally. So kapha would be winter to spring, pitta would be spring to summer, and vata would be fall to winter. And then we even have vata, pitta, kapha times of days. as well. And then Vata, Pitta, times of life. So childhood, I'm trying to see if I can remember, I believe is Kapha. Adulthood would be Pitta, and then elderhood would be Vata. Brandy, I think you should be able to come back and watch this if you want to. All right, next slide, please. So the final principle that we have is the principle of cause and effect. It states that every cause has an effect and every effect has a cause. So a prime example of this is the domino or butterfly effect. In Ayurveda, that would show as karma, which means action. I just want to note in Ayurveda, there are different types of karma, but the kind that we are talking about is the karma is the way that we live our lives and how those choices affect our reality and our next life. All right, next slide, please. So in conclusion, we can use these 7 principles as a template to compare, evaluate, and relate to other philosophies of life, such as Ayurveda. Once we understand these fundamental principles, we could even, look at Ayurveda and apply that to other philosophies of life. So as a review, the 7 principles are the principle of duality with Purusha and Prakuti, the principle of one, known as Mahad, the principle of polarity, known as the Guanas, the principle of correspondence, which is the organic and inorganic universe, the principle of vibration, which is prana, tejas, and ojas, the principle of rhythm, which is the doshic cycles, and the principle of cause and effect, which is karma. I do want to encourage you to dive deeper into this because this just scratches the surface. There is way more to Ayurveda, and these principles will apply to those portions of Ayurveda as well. So if you're interested, I definitely encourage you to take the time. It's a lot of fun to kind of piece the puzzles together. And yeah, that is it. If you want to show the next slide, those are my sources. One of those sources is this book, which I highly recommend, which is also stated in there. But thank you so much for your time, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.
Hello, everyone. My name is Melissa Lopez. I am bringing to you my presentation I have for Ayurvedic herbalism in our daily routine. Next slide, please. All right, so we'll just start off really briefly on what is Ayurveda. Well, it is one of the world's oldest medical systems and remains one of India's traditional healthcare systems. Ayurvedic treatments combine products mainly from plants, but also include animals and metals for diet, exercise, and your lifestyle. Based on the belief that the dis-ease and suffering is a result from an imbalance in three doshas, Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. The Sanskrit word for Ayurveda is science of life. Next slide, please. What is herbalism? It is the study of pharmacosmos and the use of medical plants, the earliest system of medicine known, the basis of traditional medicine, and it's just the practicing of making these herbal medicines. Next slide, please. Some fun herbal facts throughout my research. Ayurvedic medicine has used herbs such as turmeric as early as 4000 BC. Herbs are mentioned in the Genesis, the first chapter of the Bible. Herbs have a variety of uses, including culinary, medical, and spiritual uses. There are about 75 to 100 kinds of herbs in the National Library of Medicine herbal garden. Black pepper and cumin are one of the top selling herbs. If you season your food, you are practicing herbalism. 6 flavor categories. We have sweet, salty, sour, pungent, astringent, and bitter. As long as you can taste the herb, it is having a medical effect. Your belly is your brain. Just some fun facts. Did you know that your digestive tract has more nerve cells than your entire spinal cord? Or that every neurotransmitter in your brain is also in your gut? Or that 95% of serotonin, a mood-enhancing hormone, is found in your digestive system. Next slide, please. All right, this is just a brief example of the 6 flavors. We have the sweet and bland taste that we do put together. This taste is the most nourishing and heaviest. It's grounding and comforting. Most of the world's staple foods, including starches and animal-based proteins, fall into this category. For an example, some milk, honey, sweeteners, fennel, and licorice. Our salty taste is heavy, grounding, moistening, soothing, and warming. In moderation, promotes digestion and appetite. Also improves absorption of nutrients. Some examples of those are olives, hard cheeses, cilantro, and parsley. We have sour. This taste is toning, constricting, cooling, and moistening, increasing the flow of saliva and other digestive juices, which stimulates the appetite, improves digestion and absorption. In Ayurveda, the sour flavor is said to lead to more food, more thoughts. For an example, if people lack motivation or have undirected energy, the sour taste may provide inspiration. Some examples are citrus, fermented dairy, some fruit, rose hips, and petals. The astringent flavor is somewhat like the sour I listed above, but in Ayurveda, we have it in its own category. We do see that it is more, it has more of an air element, making it lighter, but also more gas forming. So like beans, bananas, and broccoli. The pungent flavor includes spices, aromatic flavors used to balance sweet and salty flavors in cooking. It's warming and can relieve gas and bloating. Some raw onions, raw garlic, ginger, and basil are some examples of pungent. The bitter taste is the most absent, unfortunately, in the modern Western diet. It is cooling, drying, detoxifying, and anti-inflammatory. Stimulates the entire digestive process through a reflex via the taste buds. The powerful metabolic stimulant, it improves sluggish digestion, supports a healthy appetite, and helps with weight management, and blood sugar balance. Some examples of bitter tastes are dark chocolate, coffee, orange peels, and sage. Next slide, please. Next slide. Oh, thank you. Sorry. So these, the next couple slides I have are just some pictures of herbs that we probably see on a daily basis and never know the medical backgrounds to them. For example, like rose, we have mint, dandelion. Next slide, please. These ones are just a little bit more of our floral herbs, like the St. John's wort, one of my favorites, lavender. Next slide, please. And this slide, I kind of put it more so how we see them and how you would see them on the daily basis as far as like seasonings in your food. We have dried onion, dried garlic, dried parsley, thyme, onion powder, just normal sea salt is an amazing thing. Black pepper, rosemary, and basil. You can go to the next slide, please. The next slides are just a few examples of how we use herbs in our daily routine. Next slide, please. Teas. So teas can be made from fresh or dried herbs. When made from fresh herbs, teas are light with a light color and very aromatic. When made from dried plants, teas have a richer flavor and a darker color, also much richer in vitamins and minerals. This is because the drying process breaks open the cell walls, allowing greater access to the plants. Teas can be used in beverages, food, baths, herbal, body treatments, and more. When made in a beverage, can be drank hot or cold, but do consider whether the temp will add to the medicine. For an example, with a head cold, hot tea will help break up congestion and mucus, whereas room temperature or cool tea on a hot day will help you feel refreshed. Next slide, please. Tinctures. Tinctures can be made with a base of alcohol, vinegar, or glycerin. Most common is alcohol. It is a great solvent extracting a wide range of medical properties. Submerging the herbs, whether fresh or dry, in the base listed above for 4 to 6 weeks in a glass jar in a cool place. Average adults can take 30 to 60 drops twice or 3 times a daily based on, and that's based on a 150-pound adult. So just kind of accordingly do it after your weight with that. Next slide, please. Lotions. Lotions are what we get when we mix oil and water. If you prefer thick lotion, the slabs I'm gonna show you next would probably be in your best option. Used topically for dry or inflammation conditions such as eczema or dermatitis, or overall just dry skin. Can use them anytime and throughout the day, and apply frequently for best results when using lotions and herbs. You can go to the next slide, please. Salves. So salve is an herbal infused oil with beeswax melted inside. Once it's cooled, it becomes a consistency somewhere between petroleum jelly and hard lip balm. When you're adding the beeswax, just do it in small amounts, just so you know how thick it's going to be. They are best applied when the skin is hydrated and the pores are open. After warm showers or a bath would probably be the best. And it's not for the use on wet or open wounds at all. You definitely want to miss that. So next slide, please. All right, infused honey is probably one of my favorites. Honey is a demulcent, soothing. It is rich in enzymes and it's just delicious. The healing powers of the sticky, oh so sweet substance is whether there's compatibility, there's totally a misspelling right there. I apologize. So you can make infused honey in a double boiler, or you can just soak the herbs in a glass jar in a cool place for 3 to 4 weeks, just like the tinctures. All right, you can go to the next slide, please. All right, infused honey is through long steeping or slow heating in a double boiler. So once again, you can put the herbs in oil and leave it sit in a cool, dry place for 4 weeks at least to get the benefits out. Any oil can be used as a base. Keep in mind what you will be using it for in the future to help decide. Olive oil is one of the top used in food and skincare. If using for skin, consider oils that are warming than others like sesame seed oil or cooling oils like coconut. Grapeseed, sunflower, and almond oils are also some skin favorites. I do actually have a coconut oil and licorice root brewing for my daughter's lotion I'll be making. It is a huge benefit for her eczema and dermatitis. So in about 4 weeks, I'll be able to pull that off the shelf and start making my lotion. Next slide, please. All right, infused vinegar. Vinegar is the oldest solvent used in herbal medicine besides water. Herbal vinegars add amazing flavor to your cooking, can be used to preserve your harvest until later seasons, can help support healthy digestion. Apple cider vinegar is probably the best for digestive problems. It is amazing as a scalp and hair rinse. And just a note there, when you're making infused vinegar, you don't want to use it in a metal container. Plastic and glass would be the best for that. Next slide, please. All right, capsules. In powder form, you get everything the herb has to offer, making it a very effective way to take. Capsules is one of the top choices. It's probably because it's the easiest way for us to take herbs in our busy lives. It's pretty straightforward. Just swallow them with lots of water and tea. 1 to 6 tablets, capsules, 1 to 3 times a day, depending on the herb involved. I personally take 2 500 milligram tablets of ashwagandha to help me with stress and anxiety. And I started that a couple of weeks ago, and I do actually feel definitely the change. Next slide, please. And this is just a quick summary over our dosha, for our doshas. So Vata, when needing to find the herbs that would be best for them, Vata does need fire and water, which is a warming and grounding herbs. Vata needs needs air and water, which are flowing and cooling. Kapha needs air and fire, which are circulating and igniting. Next slide, please. All right. Stated by Katja Swift and Ryan Mudra, the herbalists, teachers, and co-founders of the Commonwealth Center of Holistic Herbalism, said, there are many ways to define the best herbs for your body, but it always comes down to that one very practical guideline. The best herb is the one you'll actually take. So herbalism is a lifestyle. We look more deeply into wisdom of nature. It's not only for the strong, but for the willing. Start by focusing on building a habit of simply adding herbal tea to your daily routine. The hardest thing to do is to just start. The best way to do it is just to do it. Next slide, please. All right. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to play my video. I am going to just play the sound to it, though. It was her voice and just the words she was saying that actually inspired me. Anyways, her name is Erin. You can find her on YouTube under Homebodies by Erin. She's a beautiful herbalist, and she has a lot of informational videos, a lot of ways that you can learn to make different things. She has really easy that way. One moment. So this is it.
Hi everybody. I want to
Sorry, there's like a 2-second thing. So I'm going to show you just the sound of it.
We are all coming back to the wisdom of the earth. Looking more deeply at the wisdom of nature. She is calling us home. The death of the old to make way for the new. The ebb of the seasons, inviting us inside ourselves and then back out again. We are remembering what being human is. Not competition, accumulation, or scarcity, but compassion, resilience, and co-creation. We are earth creatures, earth children. We need no special training, no certifications to connect with the earth, the plants, the garden, to make medicines. It is in us, just like creativity is in us. It is who we be. It is in our bones, our blood, our ancestry, our DNA. It is our birthright to love the earth and for her to love us. We are medicine makers. And we are the medicine. The grateful stewards of this earth. The magic makers. The brothers and sisters. The teacher and the student. The earth tenders. The humble listeners. The most awakened, compassionate, and loving human beings this earth has ever seen. This is who we are.
Okay, sorry you couldn't watch the actual video, but if, like I said, her name is Homebody with Erin on YouTube. She has an amazing, just amazing page showing like how to make a ton of different herbal recipes, very easy. She does have a couple of meditations on there that were just beautiful. Her voice is perfect. So thank you so much. Next slide, please, just shows where I did get everything and all of my information from. I do want to point out the Herbal Medicine for Beginners book was probably one of my favorite books. I've read it from, the start to finish. It was a very informative book. So if you guys are ever interested in any more herbalism, that book is really awesome. I got it off of Amazon. But yeah. And awesome. That is it. Thank you so much.
Hello everyone, my name is Carly Hartung. You're going to have to bear with me a little bit. I am just gaining my voice back today. I'll be talking about the colors and why each color is assigned to the 7 chakras. Colors aren't just a meaningless part of our environment. They can change the way we feel and react to different parts of situations when a color is applied to the body through light, clothing, or even food. Next slide, please. The root chakra, or the Muladhara, is located at the base of your tailbone and is made up of earth. This chakra is the foundation of the rest of the 6 chakras because it represents security, especially when discussing survival needs like food, water, and shelter. However, most of the time your sense of security is embedded into you as a child. For example, if your parent gave you everything that you needed consistently, then you have a strong sense of security in the world. On the opposite hand, if your parent neglected or was not consistent with your needs, then you would be struggling to find safety and would have an imbalanced root chakra. When your chakra is out of balance, you will have problems with down and out movements like elimination and childbirth. When your root chakra is balanced, you will feel grounded both physically and mentally, as well as present in the world. This really will, excuse me, you will be very unmoved by any physical change in your environment, creating a strong foundation for your life as well as the rest of your chakras. Next slide, please. Red is the most stimulating and intense of all the colors. It produces the most heat and energy out of all the colors because it is made up of fire and air. Most of the time when people look at red, they associate it with love or anger because it is a demanding color that makes people aware of their physical needs. Just like the root chakra, red's main function is security, but also goes a little bit further to encourage self-confidence, courage, and exploration of oneself. However, when red is being misused, it can overstimulate the body, causing mental issues such as insecurity, self-pity, aggression, and fear. And again, like the root chakra, red can cause physical problems with downward and outward movements like the elimination issues, constipation, diarrhea, urination. Next slide, please. The sacral chakra, or swava, sorry, I'm going to butcher most of these Sanskrit words. Swava histana is located about 2 inches below the navel and 2 inches in and is made up of water. It is named as the sexual chakra because it lays in the pelvic region and controls reproduction energy. It also is the center of creativity. When your second chakra is balanced, it can lead to feelings of pleasure, abundance, and wellness. However, when the sacral chakra is out of balance, a person may experience issues with desire or creativity, such as sexual dysfunction, depression, addiction, or emotional instability. Next slide, please. Orange is made up of fire, but also still holds a little bit of water. Orange is an attention grabber without being too aggressive, just like the orange traffic cones that make drivers more aware and cautious on the road. Also, it often conveys transformation and can be seen every year here in Wisconsin, every fall, when the leaves start changing colors and dropping. And orange, similar to the sacral chakra, has relationship to the reproductive organs as well as the large bowel. Since it has a link to those organs, there are associated issues that correlate with them when orange is overused, such as IBS, ovarian cysts, endometriosis, testicular and prostate disease. However, when this color is used correctly and in moderation, it can encourage independence, happiness, confidence, and creativity, just like the balanced sacral chakra typically leads to. Next slide, please. Located just above the navel, the solar plexus chakra, also known as the Manipura, is made up of fire and fuels our ability to be confident and in control of our lives. When a person feels self-confident, focused, and strong sense of purpose, then this signifies a healthy third chakra. However, if someone is experiencing an imbalance, they can suffer from low self-esteem, lack of willpower, anger, control issues, or even digestive problems as well. Next slide, please. So yellow is also made up of fire, but it also consists of ether, air, and water. This color has a relationship to the stomach, just where the solar plexus chakra sits. It is the brightest color of the spectrum as well as the happiest, making it a perfect pair for the solar plexus to promote self-confidence. Yellow, just like a balanced third chakra, encourages confidence, self-esteem, and clarity, as well as wisdom and alertness. However, when the color becomes too stimulating for the body, it can make an individual over-analytical or pessimistic. Next slide, please. The heart chakra, or Anahata, is the center of the chakra, is the center chakra with 3 above and 3 below. It is made up of air and is located in the center of the chest, or right where your heart murmura is. You can typically feel it. You will have an indent just below your breasts. And of course, it represents our ability to love. When someone has a healthy, balanced 4th chakra, they are flowing with love, compassion, and may be quick to forgive. Although with a closed heart chakra, an individual can deal with fear, anger, jealousy, or even grief. Next slide, please. Similar to the heart chakra, green is made up of air, but also includes water with a hint of fire. Oftentimes, green has associations with nature, health, fertility, and prosperity, which is all necessary for life. It can also represent hope for the future, which is why recycling bins and programs often use green. This color, much like the 4th chakra, has a relationship to the heart and the breast. And when green is improperly used, these organs can be hurt by heart disease or breast cancer as well. Inappropriate use can also bring out jealousy, greediness, or a lack of concern, which are all similar to a blocked heart chakra. Green also connects with the 4th chakra because both allow compassion, love, and self-control to enter the body. Next slide, please. The throat chakra, or Vaishruta, sits just where the throat region is. It is made up of air, and it is made up of air, and just like you would like, represents our ability to, just like you would think, represents our ability to communicate and self-express. With an aligned 5th chakra, an individual will be able to speak, listen, and express themselves. When the throat chakra is disturbed, issues with speech, upper senses, and respiration may be present. Next slide, please. The first sign that blue resembles the throat is the presence of air. However, it takes ether to make up this color as well. This color holds soothing and spiritual properties, as well as encourages trust, knowledge, and loyalty. Although it has immense calming effect, blue can still be overused, causing negative aspects to an individual, such as dishonesty, self-righteousness, or unwelcoming, much like an imbalanced fourth chakra. This color can also cause illness in the body, similar to the disturbances of the throat chakra, because they both govern the throat and the lungs. So an individual might find issues with their thyroid, hearing issues, lung conditions like asthma and bronchitis. Next slide, please. So the chakra that is probably most familiar with people is the third eye chakra, or ANJ. It is located just above in between the eyebrows, just right about here, and consists of ether. The chakra truly represents an individual's ability to focus on and see the big picture. When someone has a healthy sixth chakra, intuition and spiritual connection emerges in the body. You may hear the third eye chakra be referred to as the center of intuition because of this. When an individual has a blocked chakra, this may affect their mind, endocrine, or hormonal system. Next slide, please. So indigo, I was not able to find too much information on, because only one of my sources listed what elements made up the colors, and indigo unfortunately was not listed. However, indigo does represent the third eye chakra and oftentimes bring upon matching positive aspects, which will be, again, intuition, clear-sightedness, orderly-minded, and understanding. On the other hand, when the body is overstimulated by indigo, it can present as a scattered mind, blinkered vision, and inability to trust one's intuition. It can also present as physical ailments such as migraines, visual defects, sinus and ear issues. Next slide, please. All right. The final energy point, or Sahasrara, that one I have big troubles with, is also known as the Crown Chakra, which sits on the top of our head, and all elements are going to be present. The chakra allows for an individual to have a clear connection to their higher self in all creation on earth. They will realize that they are pure awareness and consciousness, and when an individual has a blocked chakra, oftentimes it appears as a lack of union, dissociation from the body, or simply someone feeling ungrounded. And next slide. All right, purple is oftentimes represented by the crown chakra because it offers guidance in personal goals while keeping the mind, body, and soul in harmony. White could also be portrayed in the seventh chakra because it is considered the most spiritual color while supporting inner peace and growth. But today we'll just be talking about purple. Purple influences a person's creativity and inspiration, as well as encourages deep respect for all life. Just like your crown chakra, an open crown chakra should allow you to do. However, when purple is used in excess, it can present in the mind as feelings of lack of superiority, lack of concern for others, or lack of contact with reality, which is very similar to the disturbances in the crown chakra. Finally, it makes perfect sense that purple has relationship to the brain, because that is where thoughts establish from, which is where the main function of the seventh chakra. Is there another slide? No? Okay. I hope you guys were able to pick up on similarities in both the chakras and the colors. I had a lot more information that I wish that I could have input in, and I also did have a video that I was not able to play today. But if you guys wanted to look up color therapy, I do believe it is one of the first videos that I found. A man is talking about how to use color therapy in your life, and he also does go over just a quick rundown of what each color supports in your body, both mentally and physically. Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of the presentations.
Hey, I'm Serena, and I am presenting on Vastu Shastra, which is Vedic architecture for a better, more balanced life. Next slide, please. So Vastu Shastra is defined as the science of architecture. Vastu translates literally to dwelling, and Shastra translates to teaching. It is designed to create a positive flow of prana, or what Ayurveda considers life force energy. And it is designed to be applied to homes, commercial spaces, as well as residential spaces. But today we're going to focus mostly on residential spaces. And then it also is often just shortened to Vastu instead of saying the full Vastu Shastra. So I'll be using that mostly throughout today. Next, please. Vastu Shastra and Feng Shui are often compared. Feng Shui is a little bit more commonly known. So people like to call Vastu an Indian Feng Shui, which is not exactly correct, although they are similar. They're both intended to enhance the quality of life by promoting a better flow of life force energy, what Vastu calls prana and what Feng Shui refers to as qi. And in doing that, they both emphasize the importance of reducing clutter. Vastu originated in India and Feng Shui originated in China. Vastu is actually quite a bit older than Feng Shui, and it is one of the philosophies that they took into account when Feng Shui was being created. Next slide, please. So I have just this slide of elements and the doshas. Some of the other presentations have kind of talked about which elements make up each dosha, but Vata is made of air and ether, which is also referred to as space. So some of the qualities that Vata dosha has is it's cold, rough, hard, dry, it's light, kind of airy. Pitta is made of mostly fire with a little bit of water. So Pitta is light, soft, mobile, of course hot because of fire, and it's also considered oily. Kapha is water and earth. Those are the two most dense elements. So Kapha is heavy, it's slow, soft, static, and it is also unctuous or oily. Next slide, please. So for each dosha, each person has their own dosha that they are born with. Several people have more than one dosha. Everyone has a balance of all three, but most people will be predominant in one or two. So those colors, each dosha has a best balancing color that you can incorporate into your space if you know what your dosha is. So for Vata people, since they are made of air and ether, which are very light and spacey elements, they do best with grounding colors that are earth tones. So things like brown, tan, mustard yellow, terracotta, those kinds of colors. Pittas, being made of fire, do need more cooling colors. So anything on the cool end of the color spectrum, like blue, greens, purples. And then Kapha, being that they are more stable and they do tend to be a little bit colder as well, they need stimulating and invigorating colors. So anything on the warmer end of the spectrum, like red, orange, yellow, things like that. Next slide, please. So in addition to each element creating a dosha, they are also associated with a direction in Vastu. The northeast is associated with the water element. The southeast is associated with the fire element. Southwest is associated with earth. The northwest is associated with air. And then right in the middle, the very center, is associated with space or ether. And Vastu likes to honor the element in each space as a general rule, rather than trying to counteract that element. So as we go through the different floor plans and things that I have, you'll see that Vastu tries to honor the element in the space and really make sure it's represented. Next slide, please. So each direction, in addition to having an element assigned, it also has a color as well as a planet. So the north is related to the planet Mercury. So the color green is supposed to be best for any rooms in the north and northern facing wall. Stones like emerald, jade, green tourmaline, and then also any healthy plants that are well taken care of are said to be soothing and healing, but they're also supposed to attract wealth. The south is related to Mars. So deep red is the color for this direction. It is important to know that red can be overstimulating, especially for people with a Pitta dosha. So Vastu recommends generally keeping reds limited to an accent color. The east is associated with the sun because that's where it rises. So honoring the sun with any warm colors like red, orange, yellow, things that you think of as sunny colors. And then west is associated with Saturn. So the west does best when paired with dark colors like deep blue, deep purple, even black. The only thing is to be mindful to avoid choosing murky shades of those colors, as that can become depressing. The northeast is associated with the planet Jupiter. So gold and yellow are shades that would honor the planet Jupiter in that direction. The northeast also does typically get the least amount of sunlight in the northern hemisphere. So yellow or gold in that area helps to brighten up those rooms. However, the water element is also present in that direction, so anything like blue would honor that element as well. So either yellows or blues work in the northeast. The southeast can be typically warm colors are recommended for most rooms in that area because that direction is governed by fire, or Agni is the Sanskrit word. So typically warm colors are best. However, if there is a bedroom in that corner, which Ayurveda or Vastu does not recommend having a bedroom in the southeast corner because it is so heated that it believes that having a bedroom in that area can cause heated emotions and lead to arguments. But if it's unavailable and the bedroom is already constructed there in a house and that's where it needs to be, then Vastu recommends trying to, this is kind of one of the few instances where it recommends trying to counter the fire element and use a little bit more cool tones, which would honor Venus, the planet of that direction. So anything more white, indigo, blue, that would honor Venus and help to cool some of the heat that's present in that corner. The southwest does best when paired with earth tones because earth is actually associated with southwest. It's represented as both an element and a planet here. So earth tones are best for the southwest. And then the last direction, northwest, is related to the moon. So things like white and silver, and those actually pair well with the air element, which is present in that direction as well. Next slide, please. This image here is an image of what is called the Vastu Purusha Mandala. And in Vastu, this is used to create the floor plans. So it's used to create floor plans of an entire home. So like a full blueprint would be created according to this chart, as well as the floor plan for each individual room. And the story behind this chart is that the Hindu god Purusha was kind of going around and terrorizing things and kind of causing a lot of destruction. So 45 of the other gods, they felt that he was a threat to creation, and they devised a plan to essentially squash him down and pin him in this box. And all of the boxes that have names on them, that is according to the name of one of the other 45 gods, where they sat on his body to pin Purusha down. Brahma is located in the center and held down the biggest portion of Purusha's weight. So that is why Vastu has what's called the Brahmastan in the center of each home, but also in the center of each room. And that area is recommended to remain clear to promote the open flow of prana. Next slide, please. So starting looking into some floor plans, we talked just a little bit about how the center of a room should stay clear, but each room has its own set of guidelines. So the bedroom, ideally for a master bedroom, would be placed in the southwest corner. That is the most grounded corner because it's associated with earth. So that is going to provide the most stability. It's also recommended that you would sit your head facing south because the north and the east allow for too much movement that can lead to sleep disturbances that the south is very grounding. West would be okay as well, but south is ideal. And the bed should be in the southwest corner of the room, which is then in the southwest corner of the house. That's just going to provide the most stability. The bed should be at least 4 inches away from the wall on all sides, and that actually applies to all bulky furniture. Vastu recommends allowing 4 inches of space between furniture and walls on all sides. And Feng Shui has a principle that in a master bedroom, the bed should be approachable from both sides, so there should be ample walking room on both sides. This is not a specifically called out philosophy in Vastu, but it is supported by Vastu. So that is another good thing to keep in mind as well. Next slide, please. So onto the kitchen. The ideal placement is the southeast corner, and that is because the fire element is so prominent here. So the stove should be kept in the southeast corner of the kitchen because that is where there's going to be the most fire. If the kitchen cannot be placed in the southeast corner, the northwest corner is an acceptable alternative. Southeast is really ideal. And then the sink is best when placed in the northeast corner of the room, as that's where the water element would be located. So those would coincide nicely. Next slide, please. The living room, the ideal placement is north or west. However, it can be placed in the Brahmastan or the central area of the home if it is used for gatherings, celebrations, music, rather than just used as a TV room. In general, Vastu would recommend keeping electronics out of the Brahmastan. So regardless of where the living room is placed, the heaviest pieces of furniture should always be placed in the southwest corner of the room. As we mentioned before, that is associated with earth, so it is the most stable area. The Brahmastan or central area should be kept clear. You can kind of see in the image that there's no coffee table in the middle, so the center of the room is open, which allows, again, for prana to flow. And then fireplaces and electronics are best when placed in the southeast area of the room, as that's where the fire element is predominant. Next slide, please. Okay, and the last room that I'm going to go over today is the bathroom. When Vastu was being designed, they were actually often located outside the home. There would be an outhouse. But there are a few ways to incorporate a bathroom into your home structure that are Vastu compliant. So ideally, it would be located in the northwest or west areas of the home. However, the early morning sunshine, the early morning UV rays are said to be purifying if the bathroom happens to have an eastern facing window. Feng Shui, again, has a concept that the toilet lid should always be kept closed. And since when Vastu was designed, toilets were mostly located outside of the home. This isn't, again, a Vastu-specific principle, but it is something that Vastu agrees with. So it's another concept that is technically Feng Shui, but could be incorporated into Vastu. And the next slide, we can go on to that. It's just my sources. But that is all that I have today. So thanks so much for watching and enjoy the rest of the presentations.
Hi everyone, my name is Shauna Wisher and I'll be talking about something today that I am very passionate about. We'll be discussing essential oils and how to incorporate them into your daily life. How many of you use essential oils on a regular basis? And how many of you tend to use them because you like the smell versus the medicinal benefits that they offer? A lot of people who use oils are unaware of the amazing medicinal benefits that they have. Fortunately, your body chemistry recognizes these oils and can help lead you to the ones that are most advantageous to you. Today, I'm going to go over 12 different essential oils and some of their mental, emotional, and physical benefits, along with giving you a couple of recipes that you can use each oil that'll allow you to incorporate them into your everyday life. But first, here is a quick video that I'd like to show you that breaks down around how aromatherapy works on the body before we get into the specifics. Just give me one moment. I hope you enjoy the video. So I hope you guys liked the video. So I thought that might be a little bit easier way to explain how essential oils can work for you. But one way you can use to help you decide on which essential oil would be best for you is to consider your dosha. Ayurvedic medicine is based on the idea that the world is made up of 5 elements: earth, fire, water, air, and ether. A combination of each of these elements results in the 3 doshas, or 3 humors, or doshas, known as Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. I know a lot of you that have been watching for a while already have an idea about what the doshas are, that they're believed to be responsible for a person's physiological, mental, and emotional health. And every person is said to have a unique ratio of each dosha, usually with one standing out more than the others. For example, a person may be mostly Pitta, while another may be mostly Vata, but both will have the other doshas to some degree also. An Ayurvedic practitioner can help you determine your dosha. A person's unique ratio of Vata, Pitta, and Kapha is said to define their Ayurvedic constitution, a blueprint to achieve optimal health. Knowing your dosha and what element is attributed to that dosha can go a long way in helping you choose the right oil. Vata consists mostly of the 2 elements, air and ether, and is generally described as cold, light, dry, rough, flowing, and spacious. Autumn represents Vata for its cool, crisp days. Those with the Vata doshas are usually described as slim, energetic, and creative. They are known for thinking outside the box, but can become easily distracted. What's more, their mood is highly dependent on the weather, people around them, and the foods they eat. Some of their strengths are that they can learn quickly, are highly creative, are great multitaskers, very kind-hearted and flexible, and tend to have that on-the-go attitude. Some things they might struggle with, though, are being forgetful and anxious, having unstable moods, they can get overwhelmed easily, be highly sensitive to the cold, have trouble sleeping, irregular appetite, and eating patterns. They can also be prone to digestive issues and gas and poor circulation. So the people you know with those cold hands and feet are probably Vatas. So Vata will be drawn to essential oils that have a sweet, soothing, and warm qualities like sandalwood, sweet orange, and ylang ylang. Sesame or almond oils would be great carrier oil choices for Vatas. Known for being associated with a tenacious personality, the Pitta dosha is based on fire and water. It's commonly described as hot, light, sharp, oily, liquid, and mobile. And serve as strong leaders. They're highly motivated, goal-oriented. Pittas have some amazing strengths, though. They're intelligent, purposeful, learn quickly, self-determined, and they can master skills quite easily. They also have a strong desire for success, leadership, and a quick metabolism. Pittas tend to have good circulation and healthy hair and skin. With these strengths come some undesirable traits, too. Pittas can be impatient, prone to conflict, always hungry, mood swings when they're hungry, so that hangry feeling, prone to acne and inflammation, and sensitive to hot temperatures. Pittas do very well with essential oils that are cooling, calming, and sweet like lavender, peppermint, and clary sage. Pittas also respond well to coconut or sunflower oil as their carrier oils. Sorry, we're not quite into the oils yet. We've got Kapha still. They're based on earth and water. They can be described as steady, stable, heavy, slow, cold, and soft. Spring is known as Kapha season, as many parts of the world slowly exit hibernation. People with this dosha are described as being strong, thick-boned, patient, and caring. They are known for keeping things together and being a support system for others. Kapha-dominant people rarely get upset, and they think before acting and tend to go through life in a slow, deliberate manner. Some great strengths of Kaphas are they are very empathetic, trusting, patient, calm, wise, happy, and romantic. They tend to have very musical, soothing voices, strong bones and joints, and a healthy immune system. But some difficulties Kaphas may face are that they're prone to weight gain, have slow metabolisms, they can be sluggish, tend to oversleep, have breathing issues like asthma or allergies, higher risk of heart disease, mucus buildup, susceptible to depression, and need regular motivation and encouragement. Therefore, warm, spicy, and stimulating oils like rosemary, patchouli, and cedarwood would work best for stimulating the Kapha dosha. Kaphas also do really well with flax seeds, sunflower, or grapeseed oil as their carrier oils. I'd like to introduce you to a few of my favorite essential oils, bergamot, I would also like to introduce you to a few of my favorite essential oils, bergamot, lemongrass, and thieves blend. And the first slide, please. The first one I'd like to tell you about is one that is native to the Asian tropics. Sandalwood is an evergreen tree that can grow up to 30 feet tall, and the more mature the tree is, the more fragrant and desirable it is. Unfortunately, its popularity has contributed to the fact that sandalwood trees are now almost extinct. There are plantations today that exclusively grow sandalwood for the production of its essential oil. Sandalwood is known for its exotic, woody, and earthy scent that invokes a feeling of stability and calmness. It has been used for thousands of years by Hindus during important religious ceremonies, and the Egyptians even imported it for embalming their dead and in ritual burning to worship their gods. Using sandalwood aromatically has a very grounding effect that Vatas find nice. And provokes mental clarity, boosts memory, enhances meditation, and can have an aphrodisiac effect. Medicinally, you will notice its anti-inflammatory properties, its ability to fight viral infections, a decrease in swelling and bloating, a reduction in the appearance of wrinkles, acne, and scarring, a revitalization in your skin, and its ability to soothe muscle cramps. When incorporating sandalwood into your daily routine, you may also find that it helps support hormone balance, can lower your blood pressure, and aids in cardiovascular health. Next slide, please. 2 recipes I think would be great for Vatas incorporating this oil are the Drop and Give Me Zen roller that helps calm the mind, enhance meditation, and ease racing thoughts. If you'd like to use it for enhancing meditation, it's great to put on your third eye right here. If you're using it on a more just having a stressful day and you just really need to have that grounding, doing a palm inhalation is a great way to do it. You take some nice deep breaths with your Drop and Give Me Zen, and you should find yourself calming down and not quite so overwhelmed with things going on. The other one that I would recommend is my Lumberjack Oil. It can also be used for the hair on your head or a beard. The oils in this blend help with dry, frizzy hair, but they also promote feelings of clarity and focus and are really great for your skin too. Next slide, please. Sweet orange is another great one for Vatas. Its fresh, citrusy scent promotes relaxation while energizing the mind and lifting your mood. Sweet orange does not actually occur as a wild plant, though. It is thought to be a hybrid of the pomelo and the mandarin orange. It is a user-friendly oil and blends well with other oils. Using it topically reduces the appearance of wrinkles and cellulite and can help a dull, oily complexion. Sweet orange is also known for its antibacterial and anticoagulant properties. It eases cold and flu symptoms. It can increase circulation, reduce fluid retention, improve blood pressure, and boost your immune system while also supporting lymphatic drainage. When it is used topically, be sure to avoid direct sunlight for up to 12 hours as it can cause some sun sensitivity. Next slide, please. The Immune Booster Blend would be great to use in a diffuser, but is also a wonderful addition to hand lotion. I personally like adding it to my hand lotion or my hand soap too, especially in today's day and age. The different ones in there not only help boost your immune system, but they specifically will help you with respiratory function. If you have any water retention or circulation issues, then the citrus massage oil will be beneficial. That one is especially great for pregnant women. Rubbing on their feet and ankles helps with edema. And our next slide, please. Ylang-ylang is known as the flower of flowers and is another wonderful essential oil for Vatas. Its sweet and flowery scent fosters a sense of calmness and focus by relieving feelings of depression, anxiety, anger, and low self-esteem. 20th century French chemists Garnier and Reichler recognized that ylang-ylang has some incredible medicinal benefits too. They made known to modern medicine that this oil is an effective treatment for a multitude of diseases, including malaria, typhus, and intestinal infections. Before that, in the East, the petals of the ylang-ylang flower were strewn across the bed of a couple on their wedding night. Healers would also use it to make salves to treat insect bites, snake bites, cuts, burns, and scrapes. Ylang-ylang is also helpful as an antispasmodic, vasodilator, anti-inflammatory, and antiparasitic. Next slide, please. Love potion number 9 uses ylang-ylang and sweet orange along with a few other oils to help encourage feelings of balanced energy and enhance your spiritual attunement. This is especially effective when used with your partner with the conjunction of his and hers. Mermaid Hairspray is another way to incorporate ylang-ylang into daily routine. The combination of ylang-ylang, tea tree, cedarwood, lavender, and rosemary can help combat hair loss, dandruff, and encourages new hair growth. Be aware, though, a little can go a long way. Next slide, please. Lavender is another essential oil with a sweet floral scent, and like ylang-ylang, lavender nurtures a harmonious balance both physically and emotionally while improving concentration and alertness. Most people find the scent of lavender eases their feelings of tension and mental stress. Lavender may be the most well-known essential oil in the world and has been used medicinally and religiously for over 2,500 years. The Egyptians used it for mummification, while the Romans used it for cooking and scenting the air, just to name a few. It was also used to scent bath water, hence the Latin name lavar, which means to wash. Don't quote me on the way I pronounce that, though. Lavender has a plethora of medicinal benefits, ranging from being able to help heal burns and scars to easing PMS and reducing cholesterol. It can also be used for pain reduction, anti-inflammatory benefits, vasodilation, and respiratory infections. Topically, lavender is known to help combat excess sebum, acne, eczema, psoriasis, and hair loss. Next slide, please. The Ultra Calming Skin Balm and Sun-Kissed Spray recipes are just 2 ways to take advantage of these healing properties. The Ultra Calming Skin Balm comforts red, irritated skin, while the Sun-Kissed Spray soothes and hydrates sensitive, sunburnt skin. Both are safe for children and adults. Just be sure to follow instructions on oil ratio and avoid the eye area. For anyone that's interested in learning how to make the Sun-Kissed Spray, I do have on my Instagram. If you follow me at Earth Magic Oils, I have a video on there that I go over exactly how to make it. Next slide, please. One of the most recognized by scent oils that Pittas would do well with is peppermint. Peppermint has a sharp yet tangy and sweet scent that many find stimulating, invigorating, but also calming. Peppermint oil can be used as an anti-inflammatory, anti-parasitic, antibacterial, antiviral, and antifungal internally and externally. It helps stimulate the gallbladder and digestive system, but can also help curb your appetite. Peppermint aids in pain relief, rheumatism and arthritis, respiratory infections, headaches and nausea. Skin-wise, peppermint alleviates itchy skin, varicose veins, eczema, psoriasis, and dermatitis. While it is a purifying and cooling oil, it is considered a hot oil. Therefore, you should always avoid contact with the eyes, mucous membranes, or fresh wounds or burns. It is also not recommended for infants younger than 18 months. Next slide, please. The Upset Tummy Roller and Headache Relief Roller are 2 recipes that capitalize on the soothing medicinal benefits of peppermint. Next slide, please. And just so everyone knows, if you'd like, on my Instagram, I will also post each of the slides from today, so you're welcome to be able to take them down that way. And we are on to Clary Sage. Clary Sage has a very interesting history. In medieval times, the Clary Sage herb was called clear eye and was considered beneficial for healing visual problems. In fact, clary is derived from the Latin word clarus, which means clear. In the Middle Ages, it was known as the eyes of Christ or the oculus Christi. It has even been used in Chinese medicine to help strengthen the kidneys, adrenal glands, and especially women's reproductive organs. In fact, Clary Sage is considered one of the best oils to use for balancing female hormones. These benefits can include easing cramps, lightening heavy menstrual cycles, lessening hot flashes, and equalizing hormonal imbalances. With Clary Sage being such a strong oil for women's reproduction, it is not recommended to use during pregnancy as it can induce uterine contractions. This is also a remarkable oil for reducing cholesterol, insomnia, circulatory problems, stress relief, boosting your immune system, calming digestive orders, and inflammation. Clary Sage is also fantastic as an anticoagulant, antioxidant, antifungal, and antispasmodic. The antispasmodic properties assist in calming muscle spasms and therefore can also ease respiratory conditions. Aromatically, Clary Sage has a musky yet earthy and floral scent that helps promote feelings of relaxation and can comfort maternal anxiety, fear, and pain during labor with its soothing and balancing nature. Next slide, please. Blending Clary Sage with peppermint, eucalyptus, juniper berry, and a few drops of ginger into a carrier oil of your choice is a wonderful way to relax sore, tense, and fatigued muscles. The Fall Rain blend in your diffuser is another way to experience the stress relief and relaxation that Clary Sage has to offer. This blend is a personal favorite of mine to diffuse this time of year with its refreshing and relaxing scent that I find soothes my Pitta nature. And to be perfectly honest, I actually have it going behind me right now to kind of calm me down with all of this. Next slide, please. If you struggle with mental clarity, focus, and memory, then rosemary may be a favorable essential oil for you. Rosemary is actually a member of the mint family and is recognized for its ability to cleanse the air and prevent sickness from spreading. The ancient Egyptians, Romans, and Greeks considered it sacred and used rosemary in their tea, cooking, and perfume. In 2012, a study was done on 20 health volunteers, asking them to perform tasks in a cubicle diffused with nothing but rosemary. Their test results showed improved performance at a higher concentration of rosemary oil. Its woody and evergreen-like aroma is recognized to help amplify analytic and mental ability and overcome mental fatigue, whilst that it can also suppress Alzheimer's symptoms. Rosemary also protects the liver, improves liver functions, improves liver conditions, including hepatitis. It also can heal sore throats and lung infections and has anti-inflammatory, antifungal, and antibacterial properties. It can even be used as a nervine suppressant. It also can help with nerve growth, brain boosting, hair loss, and alleviates acne. You do need to be cautious when using rosemary during pregnancy, though, or if you have high blood pressure or epilepsy. It is also not recommended for children under the age of 4. Next slide, please. Breath of Fresh Air blend is in your diffuser would be one way to cleanse the air in your home or work. This blend includes rosemary, eucalyptus, and peppermint, all known for their purifying properties. Bugs also do not care for rosemary, so using the No More Bug Spray as a repellent is a holistic way to keep them away from you. No More Bug Spray is also safe for children and your fur babies too. Next slide, please. Patchouli is an oil that has a pungent and musky aroma that many find relaxing yet stimulating. It helps to clarify your thoughts and allows the discarding of jealousies, obsessions, and insecurities. Patchouli is particularly beneficial to wound healing, reducing scarring, preventing wrinkles, fluid retention, rejuvenating cells, relieving itching, and soothing chapped skin, eczema, and acne. There are also studies supporting that patchouli has strong antimicrobial, anti-inflammatory, anti-nausea, and antifungal properties. Patchouli oil may inhibit blood clotting and therefore poses a drug interaction risk. So do check with your doctor before using to check contraindications if you're taking any prescription drugs. Next slide, please. Sweet Relaxation is a simple blend of patchouli and clove that supports the immune system while calming the mind. It can be used in a diffuser, or any blend like Sweet Relaxation can be added to other mediums such as carrier oils, unscented lotion, or body wash. The Focus Roller is one of my favorite rollers. In 2007, there was a clinical study done on children with ADD and ADHD using a combination of patchouli, cedarwood, and lavender. 85% of the children performed 35% higher after only using this blend aromatically. Next slide, please. Cedarwood alone can help improve symptoms of ADD and ADHD in children and adults. Cedarwood stimulates the limbic region of the brain, which is the center of emotions, and it also stimulates the pineal gland, which then releases melatonin. This helps to support focus, relieve tension, and stimulates the lymphatic system. Cedarwood can also improve arteriosclerosis, which is the thickening and hardening of artery walls that occurs with old age. Additionally, cedarwood is an antibacterial. It slows hair loss, soothes acne and eczema, and repels bugs. This is one oil that is not safe to use internally and would be best to avoid while pregnant. Next slide, please. The Fresh and Foresty blend that is one that can help you focus, boost your energy, and cleanse the air all at the same time. The Be Brave roller utilizes the power of cedarwood, lavender, frankincense, ginger, and geranium to build up your self-confidence, ease your anxiety, calm your mind, and reinforce concentration. This blend is particularly good for children. Next slide, please. The last three oils I would like to introduce are ones that I especially love for their uplifting and purifying properties. Bergamot has a warm and citrusy aroma that relieves anxiety and reduces stress. The fragrant trees that grow this fruit grow along the Ivory Coast, Morocco, Tunisia, and Algeria, but are native to Southeast Asia. Bergamot is considered to be a hybrid between a sour orange and a lemon, and its oil is commonly used in black tea. So it is responsible for that distinct flavor that Earl Grey tea is known for. Medicinally, bergamot can help with hormonal support and oily and congested skin, intestinal parasites, soothing skin irritations, and stimulating digestive juices. You can also incorporate bergamot essential oil to aid in viral infections, insomnia, reducing headaches and muscle tension, and releasing emotional pain. Just like with sweet orange, you should avoid sunlight for up to 12 hours after applying bergamot topically. Bergamot may also affect your blood sugar if you have diabetes, so be sure to consult your physician before using. Next slide, please. The Pure Bliss blend is an amazing blend that stimulates and uplifts, but is still calming to the mind. This particular blend is a favorite of mine to add to my body lotion as I've gotten older, as it can help with cellulite and sagging skin, along with giving your skin that youthful radiance. The Feeling Good blend integrates lavender and geranium with bergamot to help create a relaxed feeling that is also stimulating to the mind. Next slide, please. Lemongrass is another essential oil I think is wonderful to keep in your home. Traditionally, lemongrass is used for its anti-inflammatory, antifungal, antiparasitic, and antispasmodic properties. But the benefits of this oil are almost endless. In some cultures, it is known as fever grass due to its ability to bring down a fever, especially when combined with black pepper oil. But do be careful, black pepper oil can be heating, especially for us Pittas. Lemongrass can also be used to treat circulatory issues, behavioral problems, headaches, infections, and stimulating your menstrual flow. It is a natural sedative, can regenerate connective tissues and ligaments, and can even keep pesky bugs away. Lemongrass would be another oil that is not recommended for pregnant women, children, or nursing mothers. Next slide, please. The Shark Week Relief Roller is a phenomenal way to take advantage of lemongrass's properties, along with frankincense, clove, and peppermint. This combination helps to ease PMS, bloating, headaches, fluid retention, and cramps. This is an oil that you would rub on where your uterus and fallopian tubes are. It will soak into your skin and be able to help with all that. You can also be able to do hand inhalation with it to be able to help with any headaches that you might get from your period too. The Daily Face Toner is specifically formulated for acne-prone skin. The mix of lemongrass, lavender, and tea tree oil are astringent for the skin, yet are soothing and calming for breakouts. Both of these recipes would be best to keep away from your eyes, though. And next slide, please. Thieves Oil is a blend that I wanted to go over. Most people think Thieves Blend is a actual oil. It is not. It is a combination of oils. Thieves Oil is a blend of clove, lemon, cinnamon, eucalyptus, and rosemary. So while you can buy it as a blend pre-made, you can also make this one at home if you have those oils already. The oil combination creates a warm and spicy blend that is energizing, uplifting, and purifying. The history of Thieves essential oil was derived from the story of 4 thieves who robbed people during the bubonic plague in the 14th century Europe. During this time, the 4 thieves went from house to house robbing those who had succumbed to the illness. Once captured, the judge asked the 4 thieves how they were able to rob the dead and dying and not be afflicted with this terrible disease. The thieves claimed that they wore masks to look like the doctors at the time, which were the beak-shaped ones. These masks had the combination of herbs, spices, and essential oils found in the Thieves Blend today. This blend kept the 4 thieves from being afflicted from the bubonic plague. At least that's what's believed. The oils in Thieves boost your immune function, fights nasal and sinus congestion, promotes respiratory health, and kills airborne bacteria. It is known for its antimicrobial, antibacterial, antiviral, antioxidant, and pain-relieving properties. It is best to keep thieves away from your eyes and mucous membranes, along with avoiding direct sunlight for up to 12 hours after topical application. Next slide, please. The yoga mat spray is an absolutely wonderful for anything you need to refresh. I enjoy spraying it in my mask, stinky shoes, or on pillows at night. It is safe to use on fabric, skin, or even in the air. The Don't Get Sick roller is another way to take advantage of these particular properties. You would roll this around your spine 1 to 2 times a day or along the soles of your feet for even greater benefits. If you are starting to feel unwell, you can go up to 4 times a day. And last slide, please. As you can see, essential oils can wear many different hats. Incorporating them into your daily life allows you to benefit from their medicinal qualities while also enjoying their aroma. You should always consult your doctor for any contraindications, especially if you're taking prescription drugs or are pregnant. While essential oils can help and even cure many diseases and ailments, it does take time. The longer you've struggled with an ailment, the longer your body will take to heal from it. If you're interested in learning more about essential oils and adding essential oils into your daily routine, these are a few of my personal favorite books that I have found helpful and are chock full of recipes like many of the ones I discussed today. I hope you enjoyed my presentation. Like I said, you can follow me on Instagram at Earth Magic Oils. I will be posting today's slides so that you can be able to screenshot or save them in any way you'd like. You can also ask me any questions on there. And thank you for following along. I know it was a little long. I appreciate your patience, and I hope you enjoyed. Have a good day.
All right, can you hear me now? Okay, cool. Sorry about that, you guys. All right, some technical difficulties. So I hope everyone's having a good day so far. Today, I want to talk about the 3 doshas in Ayurveda. Next slide, please. First, let's talk about Ayurveda. Ayurveda is a complete holistic healthcare system dating back thousands of years. Ayur means life, and Veda means science or knowledge, thus making Ayurveda the knowledge of life or the science of life. Next slide, please. The basis of Ayurvedic philosophy is the belief that the intelligence of the natural world is within all of us. The body is made up of the basic elements of the universe: ether, also known as space, air, fire, water, and earth. These elements are expressed as 3 doshas: Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, which are in all of us. Each of us is born with a unique combination of all 3. This combination is determined at the moment of conception. Next slide, please. Known as your Prakruti or constitution. Your Prakruti never changes. Think of it as if it's encoded in your DNA. It's your blueprints for your physical body and emotional characteristics. Next slide, please. Then there's your Vikruti, which is known as your current states of imbalance, or as we like to call it, symptoms. Your Vikruti will change and fluctuate throughout your life due to many factors such as your environment, diet, age, climate, and season. Both are important to understand. Next slide, please. Getting to know your dosha is key to knowing yourself and maintaining good health throughout your life. I will be giving a brief introduction into the 3 doshas, their qualities, physical characteristics, emotional traits, signs when they are out of balance, and a few tips to help you get your doshas back in balance. Next slide, please. First up, Vata dosha. Vata is made up of air and ether, as you heard earlier today, and means that which move things. Vata governs all movements in the body and mind, such as the flow of breath and elimination. The natural qualities are dry, light, rough, hard, subtle, clear. Next slide, please. Peoples who Prakruti, their constitution, who is primarily Vata, are generally slender and smaller framed. They're taller or shorter than the average. They have small eyes, nose, and lips. Their hair is thinner, and they are prone to have drier skin. They have a hard time gaining weight, and they can lose weight fairly easily. Keira Knightley is a great example of a Vata person. Next slide, please. They have short memories, but learn quickly. They are creative, highly imaginative. They walk and talk quickly. They are excitable, lively, and fun. You can consider them the life of the party. They're always on the go, but have a tendency to tire easily and overexert themselves. They will act on impulse and have changeable moods and irregular routines. They usually will respond to stress with fear, worry, and anxiety, especially when they are out of balance. Next slide, please. A Vata person can become imbalanced when they intake too much of the same qualities: dry, light, cold, rough. They will start to exhibit different symptoms such as dry skin and hair, brittle nails, insomnia, spaciness, anxiety, and constipation. When this happens, you will need to get Vata back in balance by using opposite qualities. For example, if Vata is cold, hard, rough, dry, you will need oily, hot, sharp, wet, heavy, and soft to balance the dosha. So next slide. So having warm, moist, cooked food is good. Having spices like cinnamon, ginger, and cumin can help. Since Vata people are always on the go, saying no and taking time to rest will also calm their their minds and their body. Giving themselves a warm oil massage like Abhyanga will be very beneficial. And trying to incorporate meditation in their routine will help with anxiety. These are just a few tools that someone with a Vata imbalance could use to find balance again. Next slide, please. Pitta dosha. Pitta is made of fire and water and represents transformation and metabolism. Pitta means that which digests things. Pitta's qualities are oily, sharp, hot, and mobile. Next slide, please. Someone who is primarily Pitta will have a medium athletic build. They will have medium-sized eyes, lips, and noses with intense eyes. Next slide, please. They learn quickly and forget slowly. They are bright, intelligent, driven, direct, witty, arrogant. They have clear and sharp speech. They like planning and organizing. They are competitive, intense, and tend to be the leaders in a group. Pitta people have a strong metabolism, good digestion, and strong appetites. They tend to be stubborn, pushy, and opinionated. They are quick to anger and can be impatient. They are the friends who get hangry. Excuse me. Next slide, please. When someone who is primarily Pitta intakes too many of the same qualities of Pitta, they become out of balance. This will manifest as rashes, inflammation of the skin, acne, boils, heartburn, acid stomach, anger, irritability. To balance Pitta is to replace the spicy, hot, heating food with cooling food and drinks that will nourish and refresh the body. Refresh the body and not overheat it. Remember, opposite cures like. So if Pitta is oily, sharp, and hot, you want dry, light, and cool. Having cool drinks like coconut water, fresh fruits and veggies would be beneficial. Herbs like licorice, aloe vera, peppermint are good choices. You want to avoid stimulating competitive activities. So going outside, having a nice walk in nature would be good just to slow Pitta down. Meditation and incorporate into your daily routine will also be good. These are just a few ideas to help with balancing Pitta. Next slide, please. Kapha. Our third and final dosha is Kapha. Kapha dosha is made up of water and earth. Kapha means that which holds things together. The qualities of Kapha are cold, wet, heavy, dull, sticky, soft, steady, solid, and smooth. Kapha people tend to be broad. Next slide, please. Kapha people tend to be broad, strong, and curvy with thick skin. Oprah is a great example of that. They gain weight easily and tend to have a hard time losing weight. This is due to their slow digestion. Kapha dominant people have big eyes, nose, and lips. Next slide, please. They are cool, calm, and collected, grounded, forgiving, loving, and can be stubborn. They can exhibit traits of greed, attachment, envy, and possessiveness. Next slide, please. They are slow learners and have a low, deep, slow speech. They are the people who can stay at a job for years and are content with things never changing. They enjoy routine and are slow to anger. Pitta can become out of balance when they intake too many of the like qualities of Kapha. So they are prone to have colds and cough, congestion, sinus issues, sluggish digestion, and excessive desire to sleep for long periods of time. They can be overweight. They can have swellings in their joints, high cholesterol, things of that nature. And then kapha people who are out of balance often have a hard time letting go of things. They are prone to heavy oppressive depression. When someone needs to balance kapha, they need to start with incorporating exercise into their daily routine. Next slide, please. Kapha people have need to start incorporating exercise and diet into their daily routine, reducing foods such as wheat, dairy, cheese, and ice cream, and raw foods, and favoring foods that are pungent, bitter, and astringent. And then they need to try to have a lighter, drier diet with lots of veggies. Warm, stimulating spices, such as like garlic and ginger, will be really good to get their digestive juices flowing. And having like warm green teas are also beneficial. And they should also have their biggest meal at lunchtime to give their body proper time to digest their food throughout the day. Kapha people need to stay stimulated. So going out with friends, getting moving, taking daily walks, doing some sort of exercise will be good for them as well. Next slide, please. Oh, yes. So I hope everyone has a good basic understanding of the 3 doshas. I'm sure you all were able to relate to one or more doshas. A few things I hope you remember. Prakuti is your constitution and is never changing. Prakruti is your imbalances and will change with the seasons and lifestyles. Opposite cures like. So if you're feeling heavy, eat light. If you're hot, cooling food choices are best. Knowing your dosha type will help you maintain a healthy and balanced life. Also remember, each of us are uniquely different, and not one certain thing will work for all of us. Because we are primarily made up of one particular dosha, doesn't mean that everything for that particular dosha will work for us. It's very much trial and error. But the goal is to have a healthy, balanced, long life. I hope you enjoy. Thank you.
Hi. Am I good to go? Good afternoon. My name is Nikki Mills, and I will be presenting on the benefits of adopting an Ayurvedic lifestyle. So, just a quick background on why I decided to present on this topic. I believe that Ayurveda is Earth's best secret. And my goal with my presentation is to bring awareness to this wonderful health system and all that it has to offer. I feel that Ayurveda is a missing piece needed in order for one to obtain optimal health and for us to be our highest selves. So, without further ado, I will proceed with my presentation. Next slide, please. So, Ayurveda is a Sanskrit term combining two words, Ayur and Veda. Aya means life, and Veda means science or knowledge. Ayurveda is translated as science of life. Ayurveda is more than 5,000-year-old health system designed to treat the whole person. Ayurveda is also a health system that focuses on prevention and cures instead of just managing a disease. The philosophy of Ayurveda is that we all come from nature and that we should be one with nature and align ourselves with nature. Ayurveda teaches balance and harmony with nature, and we also believe, or Ayurveda also believe that the universe is made up of 5 elements. These elements serve as a foundation for the universe and humans as well. Next slide, please. So let's talk about the elements. So Ayurveda believed that there are 5 basic elements that nature consists of, and those elements are water, fire, air, earth, and ether. The qualities of these elements are as follows. So with air, it would be soft, clear, smooth, expanding, and subtle. I'm sorry, with ether. And then air will be rough, dry, light, cold, and mobile. Fire will be hot, sharp, oily, and light. And then water would be wet, dull, soft, and cloudy. Earth would be heavy, static, gross, hard, and dense. And then these elements help us to create the doshas. Next slide, please. So, what are the doshas? According to Ayurveda, doshas are the 3 energies that are used to design a person's makeup, or also known as our constitution. So, when you know your doshas, that actually helps you live a more healthier and balanced life. So, next slide, please. So the Vata dosha combines the energies of ether and air. And because of this, the properties of Vata people tend to be creative, energetic. These people are flexible. They love to be just that excitement, and they like new experiences, and they can definitely talk. Vata people tend to have thinner frames, longer fingernails, thin or thinning hair, and they usually have drier skin. Next slide, please. So when vatas are imbalanced, some of those systems would show, I'm sorry, some of those symptoms would show up as anxiety, worry, anxiousness, restless. They're not creative as they usually are, because that's actually one of the positive signs of being a vata. They also have dry skin, and then they have digestion problems, and then they can have poor circulation when a dosha is imbalanced. Next slide, please. So a Pitta person that has a Pitta energies would tend to be very intelligent, well organized. They're usually looked upon as leaders and usually have good discernment. They also can make good decisions. Pitta people tend to be more athletic in their build. They have fairly good appetites and have intense features. So those can be intense eyes, those dark setback eyes. So that's usually um, that of a Pitta person. Next slide, please. So when a Pitta person is imbalanced, they are usually angry, a little bit more irritable. Jealousy can come about. They can have indigestion and or heartburn. It can be inflammation. They can be red. They can have red or irritated skin. They can also have burning or bloodshot eyes. Next slide, please. A Kapha person tends to be more loyal, patient, they're dependable, very supportive. Kapha people tend to be comfortable with their stability. So they usually are very uncomfortable with change. And additionally, Kapha people tend to have luxurious hair and skin. They also tend to have larger facial features, and they even have larger body frames. Next slide, please. So when a kapha person is imbalanced, you'll see it in seasonal allergies, feelings of heaviness, sluggish digestion system. They tend to gain weight. They can have water retention or swelling. They can just lack energy. They can become depressed and lack motivation. Next slide, please. So the Ayurveda health system is all about balance. Ayurveda teaches that in order for one to maintain that optimal health that I spoke of earlier, is that the body and the mind needs to be in balance. So when there isn't any balance, you will see those imbalances that I spoke of just a couple of slides ago. And then your body is also susceptible to disease. And so by adopting the Ayurvedic lifestyle, that's where you can reap those benefits and you won't have to deal with any of those imbalances. Next slide, please. So now we'll go on to talk about the benefits of having an Ayurvedic lifestyle. So one of the benefits with this health system is that it encourages you to be healthy and stay well. So they encourage eating a healthy diet, and then it promotes the well-being of you and your individual self, and that goes back to your individual doshas. So this system encourages you to eat fruits and vegetables that are specific to your individual dosha, which will help you maintain that healthy lifestyle. And then it kind of promotes you to take action and instead of being reactive. So some of that action can look being preventative, getting out there, being healthy, being active, exercising, versus waiting and not engaging in those type of activities. And then you have a disease, and then that's when you have to be reactive. And that's kind of what the Western world is kind of, I guess for lack of better words, that's kind of what they do over in the Western world. Actually, we're part of the Western world, but that's what we do over in the Western world. And that's the difference with this program. And then what we currently have, we tend to be a little bit more reactive versus this program teaches us to take action and be proactive. And then it helps us to feel better and helps us focus on life. Next slide, please. Beautiful skin. That's another benefit of living an Ayurvedic lifestyle. You have healthier skin. Again, it focuses on the individual dosha. So when you focus on that individual dosha, you know what to do for your specific skin. Herbalized oils are used, which help to nourish the skin. They don't believe in harsh chemicals. So that's a no-no. So there's no mistreatment of the skin. Again, the oils that they use in this program is nourishing. It encourages having a healthier diet that can also lead to a beautiful skin and just that balanced lifestyle. Next slide, please. You feel energetic when you adopt this lifestyle. The comprehensiveness and the long-term approach to health. It promotes a balanced lifestyle in all aspects, and then it doesn't depend on fake stimulants, which is something that is huge over in the Western world. That's why everybody drinks coffee and loves espresso and has those Starbucks memberships, because a lot of people are surviving off of those fake stimulants. So Ayurveda teaches the opposite. They focus on long-term health, so you can have long-term solutions. Next slide, please. This program focuses on reducing stress, significant problems, because we work so much. Everybody is under so much pressure to perform. Social media is impacting the way that we live so much. There's so much pressure coming from that end. But Ayurveda helps to eliminate that stress and tell you to work towards a healthy and a balanced mind. It also helps you perform at your peak instead of just getting by. Next slide, please. Another benefit with this program is that anti-aging. It promotes balance and stress management. It encourages mediation, and then you appear more energetic because of good health. It reduces anxiety. that can wear out our bodies. And Ayurveda promotes herbal medicine that helps to maintain a vibrant and dynamic mind even through aging. Next slide, please. So you have improved concentration with this lifestyle. So nowadays there's an overload of information. Everyone is easily distracted. You have a million and one things to do, and life just busy in general. So Ayurveda literally tells you to stop and smell the roses. It encourages us to slow down, and then it promotes us to understand and listen to our bodies. I think that's one thing that we don't do well, being in the Western world. We don't listen to our bodies. We may have all of the signs, but we just ignore and keep on pushing. Ayurveda says stop, listen, and then it just encourages us to create that balance for ourselves. And that also helps us to live our best lives. Next slide, please. It helps us to relax. I think everybody will benefit from that. Everybody needs to relax now and then. Every now and then, you have individuals that take vacation and they're still working. They can't disconnect from their emails. They can't disconnect from work. Ayurveda encourages this. It's the understanding of Ayurveda that it helps to reduce stress. It encourages one to be mindful. It helps to restore balance that can also lead to relaxation. It helps one to feel comfortable in mind and body. And then there are treatments out there that kind of helps to help an individual relax. And those treatments are Abhyangas and Shiradaros, and other treatments that can help to relax your mind and your body. Next slide, please. Detoxification, another gem in this health system, is that Ayurveda encourages detoxification at least twice a year. It promotes this because Ayurveda understands the importance of eliminating toxins from our bodies. And it also encourages us to eat a diet where we're one with nature. So, meaning that we are eating fresh fruits and vegetables. So, at least that way you get as limited toxins in your body that way. There are also professional treatments that can help to detoxify the mind and the body and the spirit. And then there's detoxification that helps to eliminate the imbalances overall. Next slide, please. Herbs is medicine. Another huge concept in Ayurveda is that they're not big on traditional medicine as we know medicine in the Western world. Instead, they use herbs as medicine. And when you do that, you have less side effects, those harmful, sometimes fatal side effects that you would get from ingesting chemicals to help cure a disease. The herbs that they have special effects on the body, and they have their own unique properties that give our bodies what we need when we need them. The herbs help regulate our bodily functions, and it helps to cleanse and nourish our body. And then again, it prevents and cures without those harmful side effects. Next slide, please. So overall, benefits of a Ayurvedic lifestyle include the connection with nature, cure and prevention of disease, digestion and absorption of the foods that we eat, which ultimately helps us to help live that balanced life. The discipline that's associated with this program, the peace that it brings you mentally, and then the happiness. Of course, if you are doing all of those things, you will be a much better person in life, better relationships, and of course, happiness leads to longevity in life. Next slide, please. So that concludes my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about Ayurveda, which is the art of natural dyeing. I chose this topic because I really enjoy fashion, and once I heard about this amazing technique, I thought it would be really cool to share. I really hope that you guys can take away some cool information at the end of my presentation today. Next slide, please. So before we get into Ayurveda, we have to understand what Ayurveda is. Ayurveda is a medical system from India that has been used for thousands of years. The goal in Ayurveda is to cleanse the body and to create balance to the mind, body, and spirit. The Sanskrit word for Ayurveda is known as the knowledge of life. Ayurveda focuses on the entire body, not just one part of the body. But overall, it helps us recognize patterns within ourselves so that we can make choices on bettering and balancing our spiritual, physical, and mental health. Next slide, please. Now, what is Ayurveda and where did it come from? The art of Ayurveda is practiced in Merlin, India, but mainly in the village of Beryllium. The word Ayurveda breaks in half as Ayur meaning life or health, and Vastra meaning clothing for health. The Ayurveda concept revolves around the use of medical herbs in the production of clothes. The clothes works as a mediator protecting the skin from toxins and transferring the Ayurvedic properties of the herbs into the skin. Some people have this thought of a Ayurveda concept claiming that it can cure any disease, but Ayurveda only helps the curing process of the disease. It can surely be used in the treatment of skin problems, though a consultation from a Ayurvedic doctor is probably necessary. Ayurveda is normally worn for a soothing experience of peace and calmness. It's a tradition that has been passed down from generation to generation, creating a beautiful legacy. This ancient practice shows how it's important to live in an environmental friendly way that is reliable for future generations. Next slide, please. How is this practice done? Well, first the process starts with organic cotton or silk that is bleached in a natural aloe vera solution. Then it's dipped in natural gums to help hold herbs. Then the fabric is then dipped into herbs for color. After dyeing the fabric for a minimum of 6 hours in Ayurveda herbs, it is cold, washed, and left to dry for 3 days. It's then kept in a dark room for 15 days for seasoning, which is a period of time that allows the fabric to dry completely and let the herbs settle into the fabric. The longer you keep the fabric in darkness, the more color the clothing may hold. After the 15 days, the clothing is ready to be worn for its beautiful color and properties. If you're doing this at home, you don't have to leave in a dark room for 15 days or leave it dry for 3 days. This is just how Ayurveda is practiced in India. If you choose to dry, if you choose to dye your clothes and not follow the protocol that I just shared, your clothes will still have beautiful color and its natural properties. But if you want the fabric to last and have a long-lasting color, I would recommend the advice that I just shared. Next slide, please. Next, I'm going to be showing you guys a simple ASMR video of a lady dyeing her clothes in turmeric. Let me try to share this.
pretty, and sometimes trying to find the right software to make your streams look really.
I thought that video was a great way to visualize the concept of Ayurveda. It was super relaxing and calming to me. I thought it was a perfect example to show on how you could dye clothing at home with using turmeric. This slide is just an example of some of Ayurveda examples that I found on Google Images to help picture what dyeing clothes with herb looks like after it's done with the process. All kinds of shades of red, yellow, brown, orange, and green can be prepared with the help of natural herbs. Next slide, please. Okay, Ayurveda properties and how it's beneficial to your body. So first, we want to consider that the skin is the largest organ in the human body, and clothing can play a significant role in the overall health of our skin. When the clothing is worn, the herbs sink into the skin, helping the body increase metabolism and helping it rid itself of toxins. Herbs and plants themselves have been used to help cure diseases, stimulate the immune system, help with mental health, spiritual health, and physical health. It's known to treat diseases as well as skin infections like eczema and skin paralysis. Traditionally, Ayurveda clothing is most effective when the human body is at rest because the body is already naturally healing itself. The cloth is commonly found in bedclothes, pillowcases, and undergarments, but it also is created to wear during the day as fashion as well. Next, I'm going to talk about 3 herbs that are most commonly used to dye clothing in India today. Next slide, please. First, we have turmeric. Turmeric is popular in natural medicine as well as textile. Its stunning color and healing properties have earned the nickname Indian solid gold. In Ayurveda, turmeric is believed to help purify the blood and help with a number of elements within the skin, heart, liver, and lungs. This makes it the perfect raw material for Ayurveda dyeing, combining both beauty and purpose. Also, if you use turmeric before, you may have noticed that it can stain your hands a bit, leaving your hands a bright yellow color. What you may not know is turmeric has been used as a fabric dye for hundreds of years. Dyeing with turmeric has been around for centuries, and dyeing with natural ingredients is not only fun and creative, but it can get messy. So my tip would be to make sure that you wear the appropriate protective clothing to keep up with the mess. Dyeing clothes with turmeric is a great way for beginners to start as it produces rich, warm yellow colors on natural fabrics. The color does fade quickly when washed a lot, so be careful of that. And I will also maybe suggest washing the turmeric dyed fabric on its own to save from a mess. There are other herbs like marigold, saffron, goldenrod, and teak that can create the beautiful color yellow. Next slide, please. Secondly, we have indigo, which is famous for its gorgeous range of blues. If you didn't know, traditionally before the introduction of cheap synthetics, denim dyes denim dye was made naturally using indigo plants. It's really known to create many different shades of blue. Indigo is good for detoxing the body as well as reducing inflammation. While indigo is used to treat a variety of infections, including the flu, the common cold, and any other upper respiratory tract infections. It is also used for sore tonsils, sore throat, swelling of the mouth and throat, and Crohn's disease. Ayurvedic teachings also recommend applying indigo directly to the skin to help cleaning open and swollen wounds to help prevent any type of infection. Also, indigo doesn't just dye clothing, it is a key ingredient in a lot of natural and chemical free hair dye. This plant in powder form is typically used with henna to create deep blacks. It is also powerful at covering gray and white hairs. Other herbs like wad, saltberry, and pivot can create different shades of blue. Next slide, please. Lastly, we have holy basil, also known as tulsi, which is known to create an olive green color. In Ayurveda, this plant is known as the divine plant. It helps heal the mind, body, and soul, and because of this, many Indian families keep and grow their own holy basil plants. The plant treats almost everything from boosting immunity to curing a common cold to making acne disappear. Therapeutically, it can even reduce anxiety and depression. Tulsi is the primary ingredient in providing different shades of green color to clothing. It helps you stay secure, stable, and grounded. The olive green fabric behaves as an antidepressant. Overall, the herb has well-being properties and reduces toxic stress by calming the mind. There are other herbs like neem that can generate the color green. Next slide, please. I found a few Ayurveda clothing stores on Instagram. There weren't many out there, but I found that it would be cool to share with you guys in case anyone was interested in buying Ayurveda clothing. So you guys can like screenshot it if you want to. Um, Next slide. And my conclusion is just, it's pretty beautiful to know that humankind came up with the creative idea of using plants and herbs to dye clothing, create stunning art, and also dye hair. I personally love the idea of Yuravastra and how it is used not only to create awesome clothing, but also to help our community and our environment. A Yuravastra does not contain any chemicals, fake dyes, toxins, or any sort of irritants. It is used to cure different types of diseases, help restore balance in the mind and body, and is also known to strengthen the immune system. Although Ayurveda does not cure everything, it has so many benefits to the mind, body, and spirit. For first timers, just think of it as a way to shop and live a better, sustainable life. Next slide. And these are just a few references that I used to for my presentation. Next slide. And I just want to say thank you so much for your time today. I hope my presentation helped someone become more interested in Ayurveda clothing. Thank you.